Prince of Calcutta. He's, or is it the Prince of Karachi, I think, actually. But he's a good guy, funny guy, life and soul of the team. Always on the hustle. He's a lovely bloke. He's just a nice guy. Such a successful captain with Gloucestershire, and just a happy guy. He's one of those guys that if your daughter brought him home, you would say, well, hopefully not my daughter, but if your daughter brought him home, you'd be happy. He's just such a good guy. He's just one of those guys who just exudes confidence, and when he goes out there, I don't think I've ever seen anyone hit the ball as cleanly as him. I mean, they talk about guys these days, but he would fit right into today's era, and back from Mario we didn't quite hit it as well as they do now. So amazing player, probably the best batsman I ever played with at Surrey. Housewife's favourite, all the older women, they love him. He's such a charming guy, nice, good looking bloke. You know, comes out, does his wicketkeeping, does his business, just a good professional. If you need anything done around the changing room, he can fix anything. He can turn a walking stick into a cricket bat with his penknife. He's like Mr. Fix-It. He knows everything about technology, sells helicopters, so he's a pretty useful guy to have in the changing room. Life and soul of the team. When we played against, he's probably the guy I hated the most when we played against each other. I just couldn't stand him. And then these games we came together, and I was like, wow, I think the reason I don't like him is because we're so similar. Very chirpy, very competitive. Life and soul of the changing room, and I hate to say it, but I actually quite like him now. Like, he's a guy who I caught the end of his career. He's a massively successful player for a long period of time, and obviously an all-rounder and a guy who I tried to emulate, and just a good guy. I like being in the changing room with him, and just someone I like to enjoy a wine with after the game, and always just good to talk about life with. Embers. He's like the black cabbie of our team. He knows every direction. If you get in the car with him, he knows the back routes. He knows the timetables. I tell him, how do I get to this ground? Because I don't really know my way around. Despite living in London for 20 years, I don't know my way around. He knows the train timetables off by heart. He knows every back route. When you get a lift with him, he's lived at every house on the way as well. Well, you definitely don't know what you're going to get with Hoggy, because he's what you would call a balloon dieter. So he comes back and he's on a diet and he looks fit, and the next year you come back, doesn't look so fit. Always a bit of a practical joker. He's always poking fun at people. He's always picking you up on things, and just a good guy, one of the good guys. Competitive when he gets on the pitch, but a lovely guy off the pitch. You know, he's a more quiet guy, and he just goes about his business. Part of that amazing 2005 Ashes side. But he's just a solid guy, good bloke. Well, Jonah's he's the guy you don't want to upset. And when you hear about club cricketers and they talk about who's the fastest bowler, and they want to see a bit of pace. They want to get a taste of what it's like to face the top fast bowlers. And let me tell you, if he's playing, you're going to get to know about it, because he can still bowl 90 mile an hour off of 2 paces. Probably the fastest bowler in the world still off of 2 paces. I don't believe anyone can bowl that fast off such a short run up, and an amazing guy. He's one of my best mates, so I always love having him in the team. He's a bit eccentric. I think he was the guy who invented the sweeping the fast bowlers and reverse sweep Brett Lee back in the 1990s, so he was ahead of his time as well. A little bit cuckoo, a little bit eccentric. Another great guy to have around, and one of my favourite guys. Mr. 9 for 57. He's kind of the star of the show. He, obviously a legend of the game. He's an iconic figure. Everyone remembers him for, incredibly fast bowling. He's appalling batting. He's incredibly bad eyesight, and just for being a real big, cuddly guy. Probably the strongest bloke you'll ever meet. Well, Ramps is an interesting guy. It depends which guy turns up, because he can be the most charming guy in the world, and well, that's 95% of the time he's the most charming guy in the world. But then occasionally he just wakes up and he's just this ultra competitive beast. So if you're playing against him, you've got to hope the nice guy turns up, because the ultra competitive guy, he can make it hard work. And even now, at the age of I think 48, he can still play. He can probably he would be the best batsman I ever played with. So incredible player, and still a very good player to this day. He's played for every team in the world cricket. I think he's played about 5 IPL teams. He's played for teams in Bangladesh, Afghanistan, West Indies. He's played for them all. But lovely guy, experienced player. I played in '96 when I captained the England A team to Australia, and I think he was about 12 on that tour. But still going and still as exuberant as ever. Unmistakable with that long curly hair. He looks like one of the 5th member of the Bee Gees, but he's still a good bowler. Lovely bloke. Everyone likes him, and not just our team, the opposition love having him around as well. I grew up with Dimmy in Australia, and wonderful bloke. Again, one of those guys who you love catching up with and playing against. He's always got a story and loves a night out on the town. Well, he's one of my best mates in cricket, and probably the nicest guy in cricket. He's renowned as being the nicest guy in cricket, and famous for his 99 not out against New Zealand, and one of the favourite guys within the team. Probably why he's captain, because if anyone else tries to come in and be a disciplinarian, none of these old guys will listen to him, but because he's such a nice guy, he asks us to do stuff and everyone does it. So good captain as well.